If you have ever started saving money, you know the feeling. You cut back on spending, you invest consistently, and yet your account balance barely moves. You are pushing a boulder up a very steep, very muddy hill. This chart shows how our brains naturally want to map progress. We expect wealth to follow a straight path. It feels logical to assume that if you save $10,000, you have completed exactly 1% of the journey to $1 million. That assumption is mathematically incorrect. The late billionaire investor Charlie Munger warned about this exact illusion, stating bluntly, "The first 100,000 is a bitch, but you gotta do it." Because we expect straight-line progress, the reality of those early years feels like a failure. People look at their slow-moving balances, assume the system isn't working, and stop investing entirely before the actual math has a chance to begin. Let's look at a chart showing exactly what Munger meant. We will use a standard, conservative model, investing exactly $500 every single month, assuming an 8% average annual return. Month after month, year after year, the line barely lifts off the bottom of the graph. Under this model, it takes a full 12 years of unbroken consistency just to reach the $100,000 mark. Here is why that decade-plus stretch is so punishing. Look beneath the curve. Of that first $100,000, $84,000 came directly out of your paycheck. Only $16,000 came from investment growth. You are doing all the heavy lifting. During this phase, compound interest offers almost zero assistance, leaving your personal discipline to carry the entire load. Watch what happens after you cross that initial milestone. The curve steepens, hitting $200,000 by year 18. The first $100,000 took 12 years. The second requires only 6. Your timeline is instantly cut in half. Inside that second block, pure passive investment return expands to overtake your out-of-pocket deposits. Your money is finally producing its own distinct momentum, working right alongside you to drag the timeline down. Now we scale out to look at the entire million-dollar journey. That agonizing 12-year struggle now looks like a tiny flat line. The math takes complete control, bending the curve straight up to cross the $1 million threshold at year 36. 12 years for the first 100,000, 36 years for the full million. To acquire just the first 10% of your financial target, you have to spend 33% of your total time. That initial 10% is a strict filter. It separates those who expect quick results from those willing to endure a massive front-loaded effort. Crossing the 6-figure mark changes your relationship with the portfolio. You transition from the daily labor of active saving to the observation of an existing engine. At an 8% return, a $100,000 portfolio organically generates $8,000 a year, entirely on its own. That averages out to roughly $667 a month in pure growth. Compare that to the $500 you are putting in yourself. Your money is now literally outworking you. Hitting this number is the exact transition point, where your capital stops behaving like a static pool of savings and turns into an autonomous employee clocking in on your behalf. Surviving the first decade requires managing your expectations of speed. Slow growth represents progress as planned, rather than a sign of failure. You have to protect the principal. Interrupting the compounding process by pulling money out for short-term purchases instantly breaks the curve, forcing you to start the clock over. Making your deposit month after month, predictably and boringly, will mathematically crush the erratic returns of someone trying to time the market. As Charlie Munger knew, there are no shortcuts around the math. Pushing through the miserable early stages is a mandatory toll everyone must pay. Wealth generation relies on enduring the linear foundation until the sheer scale of the account produces its own upward momentum.